bad couple.
Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere.
Seriously? If you're betting horses and not watching these shows, you gotta be freaking crazy. Capiche?
You're watching Past the Wire TV.
Knowledge. It isn't free. You gotta pay attention.
And ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the winner's circle for a very special presentation. Representatives from Handicapping for Horses, along with professional handicapper Jonathan Stetton, are proud to support the work of the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Accepting the check for the inaugural Handicapping for Horses event this past summer at Saratoga are representatives from the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Gulfstream Park welcomes Michael Blowen, Jonathan Stetton, Kelly Scobie, Jim Rhodes here this afternoon. Since 2012, the TAA has awarded more than $17.2 million to accredited organizations. Handicapping for Horses looks to make their Saratoga Springs event larger and raise money for Thoroughbreds Aftercare year after year. Once again, thank you to Handicapping for Horses, Jonathan Stetton, and welcome to Old Friends and our friends at the TAA. The Rainbow Six and race number 5 up next.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
You're watching Past the Wire TV, the biggest races at the best tracks. From the Kentucky Derby to the Breeders' Cup. The best horse racing coverage is right here on Past the Wire TV.
Dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Son, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
Everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING. Get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator exclusively on DRF Bets.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
All right, everyone. Here we are, another weekend at Saratoga, the Saturday at Saratoga. This weekend, we got another 2 stakes race, daily double we're going to be doing. But the big one is the Alabama, which a lot of mares come out of that race. and they go on to Breeders' Cup usually for these type of races. So we're going to go and tackle both of it. Geo, you have anything to say about this, the next two races we got going on here?
Yeah, listen, greetings, everybody. Greetings and salutations. I'm back here with Mr. Trent, and delighted to be back again with Charles Trent. And, we may be doing a number of these shows. When John's not available, he'll be doing a Thoroughbred show again. I believe he's going to do a race at Delmar, right?
Yeah, he's doing the Delmar, yes.
Quick thought about this daily double. Always excited with a lot of energy to get into the race. We're gonna start with the Skidmore Stakes, which is one of those rough, very difficult at times to handicap turf sprints. They often become dog fights. And when they're 2-year-olds, it's not. It makes it even more complicated. So with that said, I'm delighted you guys are here. We are Don back with you here. He's got his Anaheim Angels hat on, and I'm going Duke Blue for my daughter Sammy Jo this time around. So let's get started. You want to lead off, Charles, with race 9 at Saratoga Saturday, the Skidmore.
Yeah, in race 9, the number 1 horse, Schwarzenegger. Look, named probably after the famous actor, of course. But there's a lot of talk around the track about this horse, how good this horse can be. Well, first things first, Wesley Ward. That's usually what the words you will hear from that barn with 2-year-olds. And then John Velasquez, which is his main rider for the 2-year-olds also. That's another clue that he likes this horse a lot. Plus, this horse was entered in a race on Thursday and was scratched. Of course, the track got sloppy on Thursday.
Today, yep.
Today. And look, they scratched it out of that race. I thought that horse had the best shot of winning that race. But I think Ward wants to put this horse on the turf, and he's aiming here. I think this horse is a super dangerous horse. Solid workout pattern. You got to love it. Like always, they're going to pop the gate. This horse has got solid breeding. The mare has done her job as a mare. She produces, and she was a big winner herself. This horse, personally, is my second pick in the race, even though it's a maiden. But look out for this horse. A lot of talk around it, and usually rightfully so. So that's what I think about this horse.
Okay, Schwarzenegger, you're right. Obviously, it's got to be named after Big Arnold or his son, who's making his name for himself in Hollywood. But we'll take for granted it's named after Oliver Bach in Schwarzenegger. But, I noticed the same thing you noticed today when he scratched. He was going to run. He wasn't scratched early. But then when the rains came, they took it off the turf. They scratched him. So they aimed for the turf. Absolutely. That was a maiden special. And this is beginning his career in the $150,000 Skidmore. So a very expensive son of not this time. No reservations about the bloodlines. And, of course, Wesley Ward is a conditioner with these young boys. Nice workout tab. But when I went through the entire field, I just think and felt that 2 others could be primed for a bigger race than this guy. I think the horse will be a well bet. Probably, I did check the morning line. He was 6-1. 4-1. I think he's going to be less than that because of the name. It's catchy, and it is Johnny V for Ward. So you may get a bit of an underlay. I'm going to use that horse strictly underneath because I like 2 that appear much more appealing to me.
All right. On to number 2 for you.
All right, I'm going to start off with Sandal Song, the 2-horse, a son of Mendelssohn. Now, this is a son of Mendelssohn out of a Munnings mare. One thing I wanted to say in general about this race, and Charles, you may agree as we touch base and speak about every horse in the field. Remember, these are 2-year-old boys. They're very raw. They're still developing. But one thing I saw that was in common with everybody in the field is they're all, if they're not making their first start, they're all eligible to improve. So you got to keep that in mind. Okay. All right. So Sandals Song has been out twice. You know, if you win your debut like the horse did on the lawn at Gulfstream, then they thought enough of the horse to go all the way out to Ascot. So I watched the 2 races. I see this talent, but as much as Irad being on the horse, on the lawn, 5.5 furlongs, makes me say, yeah, I want to have a piece of him. Others in the race did appear more appealing to me. I'm going to use this horse strictly underneath in my superfecta or deeper triples. Basically had the horse ranked 5th in this field of 8 horses.
Yeah, for me, a little bit of the opposite for this. Sandals Song, the 2. You watched the races today, and George Weaver, excellent conditioner. He does an excellent job. He won a race today, and they interviewed him, and they were talking about Sandals Song.
Interesting.
And the first thing he said, they asked him, well, how's he coming along for this race? And he says, well, he's going to do very well. And they go, well, what makes you say that? And he says, the first time I saw this horse work out on the turf, he goes, my jaw dropped. So on paper, I was putting this horse as my number 1 pick originally, and then I heard that, and now it makes me feel much more confident in my pick on this. I do have to say this before we get any further. This race is pretty wide open once again due to their 2-year-olds. They're all on the verge of improving and all that stuff you just finished saying. So with that all being said, though, after what he said, makes me very confident in this horse. They felt confident and taking it over to Ascot, which made me choose this horse as my number 1 pick. But then after hearing all that, look, Weaver doesn't say much when it comes to his horses. He's not a talker, okay? So for him to say it, I think that was tremendous.
All right, well, one additional thought on this horse, and I absolutely understand why you're landing on him, Charles. You know, I did say that I felt, for me, I'm going to be using him more underneath. One thing about him is almost a certainty that he's going to be well bet. And in a race like this, not that I need to go for a price because I want the winner. I want the horse that's going to win or run second if I'm going to use him in my multiples or if I'm going to make a strong win bet. So I'm not going to customize my play just on price. But I did mark that this guy undoubtedly is going to probably be, in my opinion, somewhere in the area of 7 or 8 to 5. Based on Weaver and Irad's propensity for bringing horses home with a strong close on the lawn, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move forward.
The number 3. Funny enough, the name is Monster, all right? You go back on this horse's last race, and he looked like a monster. I mean, he destroyed him, went wire to wire, but then once again, very short field. We have talked about this last week about horses that win in short fields, right? What can they do with the fuller field? So with that being said, this horse does have talent. I'm not going to take anything away from this horse. You got Luis Saez, but this horse is kind of moving it up in class, in my opinion. I think this horse is going to have to pick it up just a little bit, but I will not be shocked to see this horse finish in front because, once again, this is an open race, and they are improving. And if it improves off of that 9-length win, even though it was a small field, still could put him right there in the thick of things.
Okay, awesome. Some added thoughts on this horse. I felt he was worthy of the consideration to be considered a contender. In this field of 8, I have him ranked 4th. That means he's going to be used in my superfecta and maybe even some deeper triples. I won't be using a horse on the win end in my multiples, but But here's some added thoughts on this guy. Very impressed, at least visually, with his win at Gulfstream. I like that Luis Saez is on board for the first time. All due respect to Edgar Zayas. Saez is an elite type of rider, of course. I trust the bond of Jose D'Angelo. However, when you win that easy, rather effortlessly, and then you step into this type of deeper water against further improving colts, I think the horse will run well and actually improve. But the others, to me, just seem more appealing. So I have 3 of them ranked ahead of this guy, and one of them was Schwarzenegger on the rail. But I can't wait to lead off with Tough Critic if I can.
Go ahead.
All right, Tough Critic is who Mr. Sette lands on, and I got a lot to share with you. Nice-looking son of Caravaggio, $350,000 as a yearling. I put a big asterisk here on what I saw in terms of ability in viewing those 2 races. So the horse debuts at Keeneland on the green. If you watch that race with Flavry and Pat up, talking about being visually impressive, the horse is inside. Now, Pratt was brilliant here. So this is a debut performance. Pratt's waiting inside, then methodically cuts through the field and brings his horse on the outside. If you watch the pouncing step, the turn of foot in the stretch, very, very impressive. You know, going against, it was set up right, 21.63 first at Keeneland. Just an outstanding debut. They thought enough about this horse to bring the horse from Keeneland to Ascot. Now, interestingly enough, if you watch that Ascot race, when they run 5 panels there, and it was an off-turf, they run straight as an arrow. There's no turn. And they brought the horse on the lead. In my opinion, I mean, it was 20-something horses in that race. I believe he was like the 11 or 12 horse. So they pushed him out on the lead, and Flavry and Pratt went to Ascot to ride him. Now, interestingly enough, Pratt's not on him. I think Pratt is going through some sort of suspension issue. He wasn't riding today.
Yeah, he's on suspension, yes.
Okay, so I like the pedigree here. It's also George Weaver, Charles. So George Weaver has got the 2, and he's got this guy. When I say wow during race review, I always consider, but the fact that they went from Keeneland to Ascot, I didn't like the horse directly on the lead. I think I don't want the horse to be dead last or to have to close and make up that much ground. I think this guy is going to sit a better trip, closer this time, but not directly on the lead. I'd be surprised if they put him out there on the lead, but maybe sit a pocket second, third, or fourth. And I was impressed enough, and I think that Manny Franco is capable of a quality ride. Obviously, he knows Saratoga's turf course well. I think the horse is dangerous. Fractionally, I wasn't all in on him. I like 2 horses on the win end, and we'll get to the other one. But very dangerous colt. He is my top choice. I'm using 1 more, but I'm going to key him in my triple and my super, and a strong exacta. But I saw enough to say if this horse has room, he's going to be a handful in a stretch because I know the ability is there. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Tough Critic at this horse. I mean, I had a tough time in this race, period. And looking at that race at Ascot, the horse led it, like you said. 23 horses, by the way, in that race.
23.
It's just it's one of those things. The horse was learning, and, he's going a straightaway instead of around the turn. When he broke his maiden at Keeneland, he was not even on the lead. So he's probably a type of horse that needs to see something in front of him. Maybe not a lot, but maybe 1 or 2 horses. So this is probably more of a pressure type of horse than a speed. I think this horse is very, very dangerous. I have it on my bottom side of my exotics. with the 1 and the 2 as my top 2. But I think this horse is going to be extremely tough. Once again, I don't want to sit here and be a broken record, but would not be shocked. Weaver pulled out this one as the win too. This one's going to get a better price, obviously, compared to the 2. You're going to probably get right around 6-1, probably what the morning line is. So I agree with you. Super tough. Cannot overlook it at all.
Okay, cool. Let's keep it rolling. We're going to go to the 5, Gypsy Art. Are you leading with this guy first time?
Yeah, I'll lead with this guy. Gypsy Art. All right. If I had to pick one horse that had the least amount of shot to win this race, this would probably be it. But I'm going to give you all the reasons why you could probably even bet this horse. First of all, Wesley Ward, right? With young horses. He's jumping in a stakes race for a first-time run. Again, another one like that. This one's out of Munnings and out of American Pharaoh mare. So, they should like turf. They should do well, but they also should go a little bit longer probably too. Look, there's the nice workout pattern. Everything else says, it should be a nice play, a $200,000 horse, which to me really doesn't mean nothing until they run some races. But nice horse, but someone's got to. I got to pick someone to finish last. And I mean, in this type of race, I'm actually not proud to say I'm picking this horse last.
Okay. Hey, by the way, can you double check? He was also entered today. Did he scratch out of Saratoga's 6? Most of the field did.
I'll check it out for you in a second here.
Yeah, if you have the ability. Yeah, it was the 6th race. They only ran like 4 or 5 in the race. I think they scratched him.
He scratched, yeah.
Okay. All right, so my thoughts, I'll be rather succinct with this guy. I'm always rooting for Frankie Dettori to get mounts. I like that he's riding for Wesley. In this race, obviously, he's the other Wesley. You're going to get a big price on debut. You always, son of Munnings and out of American Pharaoh mare is intriguing. The works are okay, especially the last one on the lawn, 47-4 breezing. Should get a decent run, but this is a field with a lot of horses who have looked pretty well, and they're all going to improve. So I'm not using Gypsy Art.
Yeah. I mean, I think this horse would have had a much better shot in the maiden race.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to lead with the 6, Malice, and Into Mischief from Todd Pletcher. You get Joao Rosario, who's he's riding lights out. However, he's got 2 races under his belt, both sprints. One's off the turf. I didn't say wow. He won his last, a 62 buyer, nothing to write home about. As much as I think he's got a future, I put a line through him because he's going to have to improve substantially to beat this group. So if I'm going to part with a few in the race, he was going to be one of them.
Well, I'm opposite again on you on this one. This was my third choice.
Interesting.
And here's the reason why. When they did take it off the turf, Pletcher probably most likely really thought this was going to be a good turf horse, probably because of his action and everything like that. But he knew to him that the horse was probably still good enough to win on the dirt. And so he left him in that race when he could have scratched him. He didn't. The horse wins. Rosario now has got a feel for this horse. This horse is bred to go longer, to develop even later than 2 years old. This horse might be a much better 3-year-old than a 2-year-old. So I think this is going to be a spring step for this horse for the future down the line here. Is it always going to be on turf? I don't know, but at least it told me Todd had enough confidence to keep him in that race when they were scratching out of because there was no turf. So I think this horse has got a heck of a shot. Once again, this horse is loaded and at 12-1. And if this horse stays around those odds, that's where I'm going to lick my chops for my exactas and trifectas.
All right. Hey, interesting stuff, Charles. I'm going to keep that in my mind, your thoughts. Here's one of the main reasons why I shorted Malice, because the 7 was intriguing to me, because who I'm definitely going to use in my triples. it wasn't the horse that's I consider a threat with my top choice, Tough Critic, but Bob Rovsky, Alvarado up for Dale Romans. You know, I've said this on a number of shows. Dale Romans in 24 and 25, especially late 24 and 25, he's been rejuvenated. This guy is lights out training. It's a hot barn.
Yes.
Red hot. And the reason why I didn't like the 6, because I think the 7's going to have a big jump on him. This is a horse I think they're going to have to come and go get. Now, Alvarado, obviously, he's a very talented jock. I like him more often on horses coming from behind, not so much on the lead. But I think this horse is going to be forward. I like his workout tab. I think he's going to be primed to run on the turf. He's making a big switch. But when you're a barn that's this hot and you show that type of speed early on in your career in the first 2 races, just graduating, he won effortlessly, small field, but I think he's going to turf well. And I think he's going to show speed. I just feel he's going to get caught. So he's one of my guys, like a Schwarzenegger, who I'm going to use strictly underneath. And if my eyes are impressed with how they look before the race, I may use them a little more. But going forward, I'm only going to use 2 in this race. And 1 is Tough Critic, and we haven't gotten to my 2nd. But I'll give you the stage with the number 7, Bob Rovsky.
Bob Rovsky. Okay. For me, the 7, I chose this horse as my 4th pick. I was having a hard time between this one and your Tough Critic as my 4th pick. To put on the bottom side of the exotics. I like this horse just like you on the bottom side for the main reasons is that you have, but you're right. Dale Romans last year, ice cold. Now all of a sudden the barn just switched like a on and off switch, right? They are very hot right now, and he's got every horse aiming the right way. He's placing them correctly. Juniors aboard, I have no problem with any of that. So I think this horse has a heck of a shot of hitting that board. So, yeah, I would play it in my exotics also.
Yeah, I just think that they're going to – I'd be very surprised at this distance if he comes out flat. If he breaks well, they're going to have to run him down. All right, you want to lead with the 8 and then I'll follow?
Yeah, the 8, Spirit of New York. What a heck of a name, right? For the nicely bred New York horse here, out of Honest Mischief and a Candy Ride mare, which tells me this horse should have some speed, which it does. It did win on its first and only race, did it very nicely. You can't fault anything in that race. If you can even go back and watch the race, the horse did everything right. I mean, honestly, learned some things, he was right there a couple of times behind some horses. And, Ortiz just kind of moved him through and made him learn, see what he's going to do. This horse is a very dangerous horse in this race with Jose, as well as Jose has been riding, is unbelievable. Him and his brother, they're going to battle it all the way down to the last day. Who's going to win the title at Saratoga? So with all that being said, Adam Rice, another good trainer out there that a lot of people don't know about. He basically stays up New York area. I like this horse's chances, but I'm going to have this horse on the bottom side of my exotics. Like I said, I have my other 2. My number 1 and number 2 horse is my top 2.
All right. Well, I've been speaking of another horse who I'm going to play with Tough Critic, because these 2 horses, Tough Critic and this guy, the 8, were the 2 I was most impressed with based on what I saw in race review. Ironically here, Irad was on this guy in debut, and now it's Jose. But when you break from the outside post and race 6 wide, and then stay to the task at hand and run down a field that I felt there was some talent in to win on debut, and now ambitiously placed from maiden special in the Skidmore, I think the horse is going to get a good trip again. You got to trust Jose. And I think the 8 and the 4 collectively are going to be storming down the lane. I just think because the 8's got that much more seasoning, he may have the edge. But yeah, I'm afraid of this guy. And how about him working exclusively on the synthetic? It's an angle I like. I like seeing that. And, this is a gelding. And he's New York bred. So those two things, it's not a colt that's got aspirations in the future where he's going to have offspring. So he's a geld. But they're going to go all out with him to win his first stakes race. And that scares me a bit. So they got nothing to lose and everything to gain here. And this horse is going to be bet because you get Jose. And that's why I got to make a business. I'm definitely using this horse going forward in my doubles, pick 3s, and my main pick 5. But I like the 4 a little more because of his extra seasoning. And they sent him all the way out to Ascot. Now he's back here. That's my thoughts on Spirit of New York. One for the New Yorkers.
So your 1-2 pick is different than my number 1-2 pick. So what's that tell you about this race?
Yeah, there you go, Charles.
I mean,
yeah.
On my other show that I did on Race Lens, I hit the all button on my pick 5 in this race.
The only one that I would be surprised would be the first with Frankie up for Wesley Ward, because I think
that would be my biggest surprise. Yeah, I agree with you. It'd be my biggest surprise. But on my other show, I had to hit the all button because that's how tight I think this race is. I am not going to be shocked if it's a 4 or a 5 horse photo.
Yeah, listen. That's why you have to use your trained eyes, not only in race review, but on race day. Mm-hmm. Now, sure, in a pick 5, you gotta be decisive beforehand. But if you're going to play an exacta or a strong win bet, a triple, you got to see the behavior of the horse in the paddock. How he looks on the track. Very important stuff.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of being at the track because I like to see him in the paddock and everything. I could choose the horse flesh a little bit better. But when you're at home and you're watching, you're just hoping they at least show you every horse in the paddock and when they first get on the track. I like to see them, all the horses when they're on the track. But as long as you see them at the beginning of the track, see how they're acting, how sweaty they're getting, or not. And these are young horses, so you can expect 1 or 2 of them to get a little nervous.
You're right. Listen, there's first timers, there's horses that are coming back from Ascot.
Yeah.
Stuff that's got to be put into consideration.
Right. So with all that being said, I'm not going to be shocked if it's a 5-way photo. That's honestly.
But I know in my mind, based on race review, if this race finishes 4-8 or 8-4, Mr. Sette's going to cash a nice exacta ticket. I'm talking multiple times. It starts at 10 times, maybe 20 or 40 times. But I'm using both those 2 in my races going forward. All right, guys, listen. We could talk forever. We're going to move on to the main event, the Alabama. I'm going to give you some thoughts on the Alabama generically. First of all, if you guys were watching Past the Wire last year, because Mr. Sette remembers all his scores, but if you folks were watching, I gave out Power Squeeze last year to run them all down at a nice number. I believe you paid 15 and change, and we beat a significant favorite that was somewhere in the area of 1-2 or 4-5 or 3-5. But how fast a year goes by. We're back here for the 2025 Alabama, grade 1. It's a test for these gals because they're going 1.25 miles. Makes it very intriguing. And there's some powerhouses in this race. So, Charles, we have 6 to run down. You want to take the lead in the 2025 Alabama? We'll start with the 1 horse.
Yeah, the number 1, Marge's Intention. Look, this horse is going up in class a little bit, I think, but not by as much as some people are talking. This horse finished 2nd last time out. You got Cox and Irad teaming up. You would actually expect that number, their win percentage, to be pretty high. It's only at 6%. That's kind of shocking to me. I was really shocked when I first started looking at this horse. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. I did not know it was that low. I was going to expect around 20, give or take a little bit. But anyway, with that also being said, this horse is a nice horse. It will come, kind of set off the pace and do a couple of things there. But for me, I'm going to take a seat back on this horse. I'm just going to watch it. I'm not even going to play it in my exotics. I'm just going to take a seat back.
Yeah, well, listen, we're on the same page there. Obviously you got grade 1, the leading rider on the track, Irad. It makes you dig a little deeper to say, you know what, can he pull it off? This is a beautiful field. Granted, only 6 horses, but it's, some real game hard hitters in this race. And Margie's Intention, although a nice filly, I'll say that for the connections that are watching, nice filly. And I think you're going to get some promise out of this filly, Louisiana bred. But in this spot, to win the grade 1 Alabama against these gals, I think it's too much of an ask. So I'm fading Margie's Intention. And you're not even going to get so much of a price because you got Irad on him. I would want 20 to 1 on this horse, and the horse is going to be no better than 7 or 8 to 1.
Exactly.
So I'm not, that's who I'm fading. I'm not using Margie's Intention. I'm going to start off for good cheer. All right. The obvious that you guys, you're thoroughbred racing enthusiasts, you should know a lot about this gal already. An obvious contender with a capital, what's obvious? I, right? Yeah. No, O. Oh, God. Capital O. But listen, 7 out of 8, something to write home about. Always love Sayaz. He knows this gal really well. If you look at the Acorn, do you give her much of an excuse? You really can't, because it wasn't the slop that day, because the way this horse performed in the slop over at Churchill Downs, you'd say, well, okay, if she performed that way as a juvenile in a slop, why wouldn't she handle a slop at Saratoga? But was it Saratoga? Was it the grounds at Saratoga? Was it the slop at Saratoga? I don't know. I do know one thing. This gal has a boatload of talent. You got to trust Brad Cox always in a position for a grade 1 opportunity. Major contender. Not my top choice. I'm going with one of the others. But I think you'd be silly to dismiss number 2, Good Cheer, from your pick 5s, because I'm not going to single in this race, but I'm only using 2. And you got to use her in your exactor and triple, because it makes no sense to think that she won't hit the board for the exactor or triple. Much respect. I give her an excuse one time because she was nearly perfect. Her buyers are there. She's going to make a big run in the stretch. She's dangerous, a threat to win.
Yeah, she's nearly perfect, like you said. That last one was a little bit of a head scratcher.
It was.
For the same reasons that you said, that she ran well on a wet track at Churchill Downs twice. Okay, won both. Saratoga. But in this race, if you really watch the video, it did get brushed out coming out of the gate. Big deal. Okay, that happens a lot, right? But did go about 3 wide on the first turn. Okay, not a big deal. That happens a lot. But then this horse went about 5 wide coming down the stretch. This horse had nothing left. I mean, I just don't know. I think if the horse was a bad day, something was coming out of this horse. I think this is still the horse to beat in this class. One of the horses to beat in this class, I should say, actually. I landed on her. And on my pick 5, especially on my other show, I did put 2 horses in my pick 5. So it was her and one other in this race. I think she's the one to catch. I think she's the one to get there. She'll sit super close to the pace. There's 2 other horses I think are going to be the speed, are going to go out there a little bit more. So I think this one's going to be sitting in the catbird seat, as they say. Luis Saez stays on. Love that also. So I think this is a green light go for this horse in this race.
Hey, listen, she does got to turn the tables on Lacara, who we're going to get to at the end. But I think she's dangerous, very dangerous to bounce back from that hit the gate type of subpar effort. It'd be interesting to see.
All right. The 3 is mine, right, or yours?
No,
Mine.
you led with good. Let's see. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter. If you want to lead with Kinsey Queen, you can.
Yeah. Kinsey Queen. Make it short and sweet here. Moving up in class, I just don't know if this horse could compete against these type of horses. There's at least 3 horses in here that I believe are much better than her. This horse does have talent, but for me, this horse is much better at a grade 3 or a small stakes horse racing. Junior is a plus in this race, but for me, step back. I'm out.
Yeah, I like Alvarado staying. Say something nice to Respect the Barn. It is a horse, a filly that gains checks, and you want a horse that gains checks. She's the most experienced in race with 13 starts. But you know what? I didn't have the wow moment that would overwhelm me to think that she could contend with 3 of the heavy hitters in this race. So I'm fading Kinsey Queen. Nice filly, has a future, is probably going to win some grade 3s, has a lot of experience, but this Alabama, too much of an ask to me.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to lead with the other high horse here, the Nitrogen Express, because that's who I land on. That's my top choice, and I'm probably going to play a robust exacta and a sizable triple, because I think this is a race where you can go cold, exacta, triple, win, and then make one saver if you're so inclined, just in case there's a photo late. So, and that's what I'm going to do with the 4 and the 2. If you look at Nitrogen's body of work as compared to Good Cheer, there's a lot of similarities from a buyer perspective, from a escalating in terms of moving forward. And there was no shame in losing. She ran her heart out. I'm talking about the heart pumping out of her chest in the last at the Belmont Oaks grade 1. Just missed. There's nothing else you could say. That's part of horse racing. She got nailed. That's the comment that's there in the Daily Racing Form, and it's the truth. It was just one step too late. She got nailed. I think this is a special filly. I think we're going to see this filly at the Breeders' Cup. We talked a lot about Jose Ortiz. I think the horse is going to be forward early behind La Cara. And they're going to have to, Good Cheer is going to have to pass Nitrogen, who I feel will have the lead beforehand. And I don't know if this filly's going to give up the lead once she gets it. So as dangerous can come. It's going to be interesting with the price. But this filly has been flawless for a very long time now, especially as a 3-year-old. Top billing here.
Yeah, horse has never missed, has hit the board every time. So, that's the first plus on this horse, right? Second thing is, when the horse did run on the dirt, it was, scratched off the turf, ran on a sloppy track. There was only 3 horses. The horse did what it was supposed to do. Hey, you can't fault the horse that there was only 2 other horses in there. She destroyed those 2 horses.
Workout, yeah.
It was a workout. So you know what? She did what she was supposed to do. It is what it is. Like you said, the last time was a heartbreaker for her. This is my second choice. I believe there was 2 horses in this race that are the ones, and that would be with the number 2, Good Magic, and of course Nitrogen here. They interviewed Jose yesterday about this horse and asking him about why they want to go to the Alabama, and he says that they both, him and Mark, the trainer, says that they both believe that this horse can handle any surface. And if you're a good mare or a good colt, you should run on all surfaces. So with that being said, I know why they're doing it. They feel like this is the spot. This is the chance they take now, is the opportunity to do it and see if they can fit in the dirt for the fillies, and see what about the Breeders' Cups, because they know that this horse is going to do good on turf. They already know that part. So let's
Yeah,
find out.
Okay, and the distance should be something that everybody questions with all these fillies, because a mile and a quarter can be a big challenge. So you have to make a determination as a handicapper how much the horses had left late in races, now stretching out to the mile and a quarter. I just think she's a handful the way she's been training. The numbers are there, and just a nice, a well-built.
Yeah, this is the horse Good Cheer is going to have to run down in the mid-stretch.
Yeah. And think about the optimism here, to go on a mile and a quarter and to say, you know what, we're going to put her on the soil, Yeah, and I like that. Yeah, so if she's as good as I feel she is, she's going to win, in my opinion. And if she's going to get beat, she's going to get beat by Good Cheer.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to lead with this horse from Sweden. This was like a very interesting wild card, if you will. Listen to this, folks. If you didn't look into this. So this is a filly making a USA debut, coming from Sweden. But one thing that was really unique about this gal overseas, she runs in Dubai and runs a very strong wins at Dubai, and then she comes back versus the boys. And not only she versus the boys in that second race in Dubai, but then she races against the boys over in Sweden in the last two. And she ran pretty well. A little bit of a head scratcher here, because now she's cutting back. Look at the distance that she's already proven out in Sweden. So here she's going a mile and a quarter. She's cutting back. You know what? I came close to saying, and I will say, that I like this filly as a strong consideration under those two heavyweights. And if one of those falter, I wouldn't be surprised if she was able to run second in this race. I couldn't pull the trigger to put her as a threat as a win, but how big of a wild card do you want? Facing the boys the last three, she's been successful. She has a nose for the wire. She's won in the wet. She's won on a dry track. She's failed on the turf, but she's so well traveled. And now Rosario gets the mount. I don't know too much about the trainer, but
trainer's very good. Very sneaky good too.
Okay, so there you go. So think about it. All the capping we do, Charles. When do you see a horse coming in from Sweden, cutting back into a grade one here?
Well, the first thing is, when do you see a horse come from Sweden?
Yeah, exactly.
There's the first thing. There's the first hurdle.
But the Dubai race was really impressive. So that's all I have to say, folks. If you feel like you want a big fat price on a wild card, then put her in your pick five. I'm going to use her underneath exclusively from the two heavyweights, but I had to share my thoughts because it was really compelling to look at this gal's body of work, especially facing the boys the last three times.
I think you watched my show earlier before we jumped on.
No, I haven't.
I said everything that you just pretty much said on this horse on my last show.
Wow.
I said the same exact stuff. This is the wow factor. This horse is coming from Sweden.
I didn't watch, Charles. I swear.
I know. I'm messing with you. I'm messing. But it's just amazing how I said pretty much everything that you said there.
Two good minds, man.
And, the thing is, with her beating the boys at 3, when it comes, like when I was training horses, it didn't even scare me to run a 2-year-old filly against the boys. Didn't even scare me at all. Because usually the fillies, they develop quicker than the boys. Just like in humans, the girls, they develop a little quicker. But then the boys start catching up halfway through their 3-year-old season. So with that being said, when this horse ran in July and even in June in Sweden, against the boys, hey, there's some boys out there now are starting to develop very well. That's going to be a tougher task. to beat the boys. So, or even come in, even hit the board with them is a tough task, to be honest with you. So all those things you said, I had a heck of a time between this horse and Lacara, who would be my horse for the trifectas, and I said both of them. That's how I think this horse. And you know what? Especially if it stays around 12-1, you better think about it, dropping it on your exactas and tries, because I have a feeling this horse is going to sneak up right at the end and be flying.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I've handicapped thousands of races. I can't remember.
No, I can't.
Here's a horse cutting back,
yeah,
facing all the girls who are stretching out. So she's cutting back. Everybody else is stretching out. She faced the boys, and she gets Rosario, where she's obviously going to have the best rider that she's had throughout her career. It's a wild card. It's an absolute wild card. She could run last, or she could be threatening to hit the triple or the exacta. I just don't think they could pull it off with this horse.
Yeah.
Win.
All right, the 6, Lacara. What can we say about this horse? I think everybody that's been following races, especially of late, knows about this horse. This horse has got speed, tons of speed. This one will be out there in the front winging it. Nitro is going to be pushing this horse. Nitro will probably most likely not have the lead, but Lacara will, and I see Nitro sitting right off her flank right there, pushing this horse. Can this horse win? Yeah, I think we all know she can. But with Nitrogen sitting right there next to her, you got good cheer, literally breathing down both of their necks at halfway through the race. I think this horse is going to cough it up at the end. The best I see this horse is a third. So maybe for your supers or your not the supers, be the tries, excuse me. If you want it for that, demand the price at least 5-2 or higher. I wouldn't take anything less on this horse because of the top 2 horses. I think they are the top 2 for a reason in this race. But I'm not going to take much away from this horse because this horse has done everything right, especially since Davis took over. I mean, when Santana was riding her, she did well. But when Davis took over, it looks like I think they're the perfect pair, on this horse.
Okay, one thing I found interesting, and I like the filly. I like what she did over at not the Breeders' Cup, the Ashland. Really, really impressed me over at Keeneland. See, one thing you have in favor with Lacara, Dylan knows this horse really well, but I don't really have reservations about the distance because it's a daughter of Street Sense. So I think she'll stretch out well. But think about the zigzagging. Literally, since she's turned 3, from the last couple as a 2-year-old, she's on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. Good Cheer leveled her in the Kentucky Oaks. So she'd have to turn the tables on Good Cheer. However, in the Acorn, she ran huge, and Scottish Lassie, I believe, came back and won after that, and it was in a slop. So talent is there, and the nitrogen factor is that Nitrogen did most of her dynamic running on the green, on the lawn. And she did have that big race, which I characterized, and you agreed, as a workout in the slop, because I felt all along the connections knew that inevitably they wanted to run her in the Alabama.
Yeah.
It just turned up sloppy that day. And she got a benefit of having a race on the dirt, but it was the slop. So if Nitrogen, for whatever reason, doesn't adapt to a fast track, that would put Lacara, who has a boatload of experience, as more of a threat in a race.
Right.
But we handicappers, we have to be decisive. I think the winner of the Alabama is either going to be Nitrogen or Good Cheer. And I'm not cherry picking here. It's just what I see on paper, what my eyes see on the racetrack. And if Lacara could pull it off beating both those gals, I'll tip my hat to her. That's the way I look at it. I'm using this gal underneath and underneath only.
And we both probably agree that the long shot of the race for those show bettors out there that like to do a big show bet Hey, Queen Aztec on that horse.
Yeah, because it's compelling. It's compelling.
Yeah.
All the angles.
Yeah.
But what if how about this, Charles? What if she don't travel well, making a USA debut, and she's flat? Then but when you defeat the boys and you prove that you can handle the travel before, and getting Rosario up, it can happen. The two that you can easily throw out in this race, which would be a big surprise, would be the 1 and the 3, who I'm not using. So there you have it. That's the Grade 1 Alabama this year. I'd be very surprised if one of the two heavy hitters didn't win this race.
I agree.
And McCarra's a nice filly, and McCarra's chances increase if nitrogen doesn't fire because it's on the dirt.
But we can't make bets halfway through the race, can we?
Yeah, we can. We can.
Yeah. We got to make them right before they get in that gate. So that's how we see that daily double. We do agree that the race number 9 is tough, and of course the Alabama to both of us is a little bit clearer of who our top 2 picks are, which we landed on the same exact 2 horses. But we both agree who the long shot of the race would be, and so the Alabama we have a little bit clearer focus, but that race number 9. Skidmore, let's put it this way: if anyone out there likes another horse in that race, hey, don't let us talk you off it, because that race is really wide open.
Yeah, and the way I approach this, see last year in the Alabama, because I'm telling you, folks, if you go, I know you're not going to do, but if you wanted to go back to my show last year in the Alabama, you'll see how much I gave Power Squeeze and the connections to win it, and I got paid. But my point I'm making in this race, this year's I won't bet to win. I'll use my 2 and my pick 5, but I'm going to play a strong double. And my double I play strong is going to be my top choice in the 9th race, Tough Critic, with nitrogen. Because if I'm right, I'm getting paid precisely. And then I may do a save a double using 2 deep with my double, but that's just what I'm going to do. And if Tough Critic wins and Good Cheer wins the Alabama, I'm still going to get paid because I'm going to have that as a save a double. That's how I'm going to approach it. I'm not making a win bet in this race.
Right. And so, I mean, like I said on my other show, my pick 5, I took 2 horses in the Alabama, the 2 we talked about. So there you have it. So everyone, thanks for joining us. And remember one thing, if you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email, or if you have questions to Geo, please shoot him an email also, or he's at.
Absolutely. It could be on Twitter. By the way, your email address is up there. I have a Past the Wire email address too, but I use that for different purposes. I have an email. You can email it focus to the finish, all spelled out, at gmail.com. You have Charles' show. He said, Charles, would you do a Raceland? Raceland on pick 5 for this?
Yeah, I did a pick 5, on for Saturday.
And since I'm going to be go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that, like I said, if you have questions, put it in the comments on YouTube when you see this show, or you can shoot us those emails or to his Twitter or whatever we got going on here. And then also remember to hit the subscribe button down below.
Yeah, subscribe, like.
Hit the like, hit the alert button. You're going to get all our shows. You can see these 2 beautiful faces like you did last time.
I'm going to add a bonus
one. We're going to have a show out there for the Travers too.
Yeah, we got a fun show for the Travers. We're going to have the whole crew deep dive into Travers. John, Ed C, Big Race Jim, I'm hearing, Charles and myself. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be live, right?
Yeah, it's going to be live.
You'll get notified of that. One other thing I want to add, you got Charles' show covering the pick 5, I believe, right?
Yep.
I'm going to do something for you guys because I'm going to be very involved Saturday. So in the comments here, I will share my pick 5 leading to this 9th and 10th race. So you'll know you'll have additional connectivity and you'll see where I land on those races. Show some love. Even if you have love for the Anaheim Angels or Duke, my Sammy Joe's Duke. I'm a Duke dad, very proud. If you have a child or if you went to Duke, let me know in the comments. Share some love, and we'll see you again real soon. Charles, if you have a closing thought, we'll be ready to.
No, let's everybody go out there, have fun, be safe wherever you do, and let's go out there and get those winners, huh? So until then, we will see ya.
You ain't smooth. You ain't never going to be a smooth operator.
Here comes journalism, here comes sovereignty, and they square off, heading to the final front. Sovereignty wins the Derby!
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.
Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere. Nobody does it better.